All right, well, welcome back. This is week 2 of the Weebinomics Podcast Weekly. We are doing episodes 11 through 20 of Full Metal Alchemist. I am Scott Loudon, and joining me is...
Stephen Bonsai.
Yeah, let's see if you can remember how to say that last name. It's going to be the challenge of this podcast. So going into this week, we are basically transitioning to being just introduced to the show into now kind of getting into some of the more meat of the story, it kind of feels like, and trying to, get the actual plot line going and have more, I don't want to say emotional arcs because the beginning was emotional, but this definitely seems to be like picking up on everything that's been hinted at. Did you kind of feel the same way with that, or what did you think this section felt like?
I felt like we're finally diving into the story. Like things are accelerating. You got, maybe 95% of the characters coming out now. It's the ball's moving.
Yeah. So did you feel that there was any, and we'll go through these more specifically, but was there a specific episode that you thought of this chunk was your favorite and maybe one that was your least favorite?
Ooh. Starting off the least favorite, I would say it would be the Miracle at Rush Valley,
Mm-hmm.
where they end up going to Rush Valley. There's a whole little episode with the thief, and then there's a newborn baby. And I'm like, okay, there was
Yeah.
nothing here.
Yeah, I was kind of like, what was the purpose behind that episode? Because I mean, it's her trying to basically find a guy who can, well, not on purpose, right? But she ends up finding a person who's like really good at making auto mail and literally
Right,
wants to like learn from him, right? Like,
right.
I wasn't sure. I mean, maybe the character they met, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Peninia.
Oh,
Um,
that's why I couldn't say it. Yeah.
uh, I'm assuming she's going to come back maybe later on and do something because it seemed like an odd thing to introduce her as like a more major character of an episode, and then I mean, it doesn't really seem like she did too much in that next section, but I'm assuming she has to come back and do something else. Is
Yeah,
my assumption.
I wasn't feeling her very much. Definitely not my kind of character.
Yeah.
Is there anything in episode that you didn't quite enjoy?
Well, it just seemed like not particularly filler per se, because it wasn't like they just sidetracked and did nothing and then it was like this weird offbeat story. Like it still followed through the timeline. But it did seem like an odd episode right after kind of everything that had happened at like Fifth Laboratory. I was just kind of like, oh, this is kind of slowing the pace down.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really sure. But how about in terms of, did you have a favorite episode?
I'm trying to think. I remember there was a specific scene I liked. It was with Al, and there was a homunculus involved. Uh, it was just a very well, I guess, a very well drawn, as well as emotional episode there. I don't think anything really stood out to me besides that one scene. What about you?
Okay. I think there's two I would say that kind of
Mm.
like are both there for me. I would say the episode where the reveal of Elric's dad. You know,
Oh,
I
daddy
mean,
issues.
I literally texted you being like, okay, what the fuck? Like we had just talked about this. Then all of a sudden I'm like,
Uh-huh.
all right, now we're starting to get where he is and trying to, and throughout this chunk, you still don't really fully understand what he's doing, but you obviously are revealed that he is very important to whatever's happening with all these homunculus. Um, and then the other one I would say would be the fight between Mustang and Lust. That was,
Oh, yeah, that
I,
was the same episode. Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I just was like, I still don't fully understand what happened. I don't think, like what caused her to finally be done.
Okay.
But at the same time, just seeing him just repeatedly just douse her in
Yeah.
flames, I was like, oh my god! Like the
Yeah.
animation was pretty intense for it.
It was
Um,
good.
yeah, so I really enjoyed it. Those two were probably my favorite. There's some like other ones that I think added some really cool new stuff into this story. I should say I wasn't gonna say season because like at this point it's like 64 episodes is the show.
Uh-huh.
Um, But those were the two for me that I was like, okay, like those are the moments for me that really brought me into it and being like really heavily interested.
I think what I also enjoyed about this past episodes that the style, the art is getting a little bit better, the animation is getting a little bit better. I feel like
Yeah.
it's moving away from a little bit of I don't know, the kiddiness of
Mm-hmm.
I would say the immaturity of the elder brothers, and you kind of seeing them. You're now seeing them mature a little bit more mentally.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like even like the tonality of the show
Mm-hmm.
is shifting to that, where it's like there are still the comedic smaller moments, but it does
For
feel
sure.
overall that things are a little bit heavier, right? Especially like with their teacher
Oh
and
yeah,
her history, right? And with even like greed, because Al is also dealing with trying to protect people that aren't exactly perfect either, right? So there's a whole lot in this chunk that I was like, okay, this is taking a pretty good shift. What did you think of Ling Yao?
I think he's just part of the story. I don't have any investment in his character,
Yeah,
and that's it. I'm not impressed. Like I understand he's I think what the 12th son out
yeah,
of I forget like 49, 46 other sons, and it's like okay, I see the theme here. You're just another dude trying to fight for power one way or another.
hmm
Um, but it's just a dude, just another character, no attachment.
I have to imagine he's going to do something more important because he's in a lot of these episodes.
Yeah. Oh, there was one scene where I'm pretty sure we'll get into it where it's a jailbreak,
Yeah, yeah,
and I just don't understand why he was released.
yeah. I'm trying to like because he basically just asked the dude to do it, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Wait, you're from Xing?
Yeah.
Okay."
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, whoa, wasn't there a little bit more? And from these episodes, I don't think there was any reasoning or rationale on why that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that was the weakness I think of this section was Ling's character, right? Like he's introduced and he's like slightly funny, but like we have no idea outside of him wanting to figure out how to bind his soul to something to be immortal.
Hmm.
Um
There was that one scene where they all come, well, at least the Elric and the Elric brothers and that gang, excuse me, the Elric brothers with the Zing foreigners, they all get back into Central. And then
mhm.
Ling just disappears. Oh, where's the young master? And he's out
Yeah.
on top of some fucking building.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, there's something weird with this country. Like, okay, dude.
Yeah, and then immediately gets arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very odd. I don't understand that
It
storyline.
was kind of a bit of a weird trope there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure you just ate on the train and like I don't know.
Well, he seems to kind of just be like always hungry, right? Like that seems to be like a theme of his is just always hungry, right?
Uh
Which might tie into something. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just like loose,
oh
character building, or like he needs to consume a ton of food for something.
yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about because we talked about this last week was how they transfused Barry's soul because we were talking about like how did
Mm,
who gave up something, right? Because we're like Al's body wasn't there.
yeah, yeah.
So Ed had to give up part of him to get the soul
Right.
back. And then in this series of episodes, Barry's actual body with somebody else's soul comes into it. And so it's clearly he didn't
Somebody,
give up his
something,
body. So now I am like, who gave up something? Or was it just the Philosopher's Stone or whatever?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was one little storyline I did enjoy about these 10.
Yeah.
It nicely closed off. We're at episode like 20 or
Yeah.
19. That was
Yes. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's just like that rattling piece of metal, and
Yeah.
then he scratches it. You're like, no.
There's actually I don't know if we want to wait or to that section of the episode to talk about it more, or should we dive into that a little bit right now?
No, I think we just dive into. I mean, the
Yeah.
whole idea. Yeah, I don't think we have to. There's no prescribed method to this madness. So,
So okay, let me bring up some of my notes here. It could be scattered. Whew. So, okay, they talk about how, let's see, what scene is that? Okay, when Barry's body, flesh body,
Hmm.
finds the armor body, right? Essentially,
Hmm.
the armor body beats him up in the road. And they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, somebody put something." I think he says a rat or something soul in my body,
Mm. Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I don't understand what attracted the body to the soul, other than could there be a link? But if there's something in the body, the flesh body, why isn't that attracted to its original body also?
I don't know.
Or I mean, it could just be towards the body. It just felt like this is kind of weird because it. Where else does it kind of break down? Probably in the next episode where they're in that white room. I think this is after the fight with or well, where's that? After the fight with Lust, right?
In the white room. What am I forgetting here?
Where Mustang comes in.
Oh, like the room, the white room that like after the fight.
Yeah.
Like the same room the fight was in, or like after that scene.
Oh, it was the same room.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was like a white room. It was kind of weird. It had a huge transmutation circle on the wall.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, oh, I don't know where I was going with this. It just, I don't understand that link.
Yeah, I don't know if I understand a connection between like a body that has a separate soul if it does need to feel like it's connected to its original soul. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know if that's been explored. Um,
Oh, I know where I was going to go with that. So, right, Barry's armor body is on the ground. It's in pieces,
yeah,
but he's still alive because his sigil, his little transmutation
yeah, yeah,
circle is still there, and the body miraculously just gets back up, and then goes towards it, and he knows exactly where the soul,
mm.
the
The transmutation like symbol is or
yes,
whatever. Yeah,
and he goes and rubs it out. It just
hmm,
and the circle goes out, and yeah, now Barry's dead,
yeah,
but the body also dies at the same time. I'm
hmm.
like, why? It should still be
Maybe.
alive.
Yeah, but what when they were talking about in the episode that the body clearly was like past its prime, like it was
But
just
it
destroyed.
seemed like what they were trying to imply was that because the soul died, the body died. There was still life in that body. Not very much, right? It got beaten. It got beat up pretty bad.
But I wonder if it was like the second that the soul got back to its body, and the body was not in a good alive shape.
You think
Like I
that
wonder if they just died together.
you think the body would try to go back to the sorry, you think the soul tried to go back to the body after it
I
disappeared
Yeah,
and got
I think
wiped out?
I kind of imagine it being like this is a really odd connection, but like I think of it as like Final Fantasy X when Yuna sends she sends the souls away, right? Like they can't
Yeah.
fully rest until that happens, right? And so it's like to me, I wonder if that body would not have stopped, even if it was just a pile of bones, until it reconnected with the soul and then was able to like pass away.
But there was still something else's soul in that body though, the flesh body. It
Yeah,
wasn't just
just
empty.
but the body also rejects the non-true soul,
True.
right? So
Right.
I think if it's presented with the true soul, maybe that forces it out. I don't know. We haven't really gotten into any of that
Yeah,
explanation.
that might be a little too deep.
It is always interesting though because I think of like when I read books like magic systems, especially in like fantasy, and I hate when an author just throws out something and
Yeah.
you're like that has not applied in any way, shape, or form
Yeah.
for the other 500 pages of this book. So like how so to me I can't stand that. So like to me there has to be a set of rules that make sense. So I would be curious if they'll dig into that more. And again, you've read the whole manga, so
Yeah.
I mean maybe you know the connection. You're just not wanting to dig into it too far, but
I can't think of
um,
it.
yeah, it doesn't seem like something like I think the story would honestly spend a ton of time on, but it does seem like an interesting thing to think about for them to like have presented somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. I still don't understand uh, kind of like immediately before that moment, Mustang's ability. I still don't get it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. I was gonna ask you if you figured it out yet, because last week you were like, his ability is probably fire. It's Flame Alchemist.
Yeah,
And I was waiting on that. I was wondering if you're gonna figure it out this time.
because he is able to like separate hydrogen or something from the water
Yeah,
in the room with
the
Lust,
Colossus.
and then he in the next scene later has a match, and the second a flame is present, he snaps his fingers and then it like roasts her. So I'm confused.
Okay. We'll wait. I'll let you find that out next time.
Uh,
It's a
okay, so
when that comes out, it's a pretty good episode.
okay, so it does get dug into
It
more.
does get
Okay.
dug into, yeah.
What did you think about? Because okay, so in this, 10 episode chunk, right? We really had two. The focus, at least, was really two different sins, right? We had kind of greed in the first
Greed,
half,
yeah.
right, and then it focused on not primarily, but I would say lust was like the more focused on in the back half of this 10. What did
Yeah.
you think about? Well, I
Well,
mean,
there's also a new one that got
yeah.
revealed, right? We got
Oh yeah,
the
the fear.
fear. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which was but I think that was the first five.
That was the first five, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's a ton of reveals between episode 11 and
Yeah,
14 or
it's huge,
15.
right?
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? Like every single episode, it was like something major, right?
Something was going on, yeah.
Yeah.
Besides the
So
baby episode.
yeah, yeah. That was man. I'm kind of like glad that they talk about it at the end. Like he calls her and is like, "Yo, that wasn't your kid," and she's like, "Oh, cool. I didn't roast my
Yeah,
own kid."
yeah. That was a really kind thing for Ed to do. Like he wasn't just going to call her just to make sure. He knew what he was doing with that phone call.
Yeah,
Because
but
even
it is funny to be like, I get that it's like, yeah, you didn't torture your own baby, but you still tortured a baby.
well,
Like,
something of a
yeah,
baby.
yeah, it's true, right? We don't know if it was human, right? But
So then, yeah. So going on top of that, so they make the realization, both of them, that bringing someone back to life is impossible.
yeah,
It's just, and it kind of goes with the whole, at least with Izumi's theory of alchemy, right? Essentially, that was the lesson she was trying to teach to Elric brothers when they were training. It's a cycle, and I just feel like with the possibility of a soul out there and the ability to make a body, is it really impossible to bring someone back to life, excluding the homunculus? Right, that's totally homunculi,
yeah, the
plural.
plural form, yeah,
Um, is it really that impossible? The only thing being that the soul is still obtainable,
hmm
right? Because we see that
but that seems to be only obtainable while they're alive.
that
Uh,
sounds like it, right? But then there's like
yeah,
right how Ed had to go and sacrifice or trade in his arm for Al's soul.
yeah,
Where was his soul? Technically, his soul was already gone, as in left
yeah.
his body, right?
I wonder if it was just because it was like instantaneous at that moment, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. I feel like it's there, but they're just kind of giving up on it.
I mean, I feel like there's already the taboo nature to it, right? So that's already supposed to stop
Yeah.
them, right? And I think at this point, they both are like, we can't even control who we're bringing back. And I think that
Well,
might have been more like then like, yeah, I think the impossibility is it seemed like they couldn't even select who they were bringing back.
see, I think that was what they were implying, that they couldn't select what they were bringing back. But I think that if you have, so how they started the process is that they collected the the bare, well, I would assume the bare minimum ingredients
Mm-hmm.
to of what compromise, what's that word? That what the human body is made out of,
Mm-hmm.
and they transmuted it. So I think they just randomly made a human being. They didn't bring someone back.
Hmm.
I think they made the bones, they made the flesh, etc. But they didn't know how to put it together in a human body form, and they just had a mess.
Yeah, but I'm curious because they were talking about how like the body structure and like bone structure was totally different on what the Elder Brothers brought back.
Maybe they just accidentally made a male instead of bringing back a male.
I don't know.
That's what I got out of that.
Yeah,
Like they were trying to force it into, oh, you brought something else back, but it didn't
yeah.
seem like that to me.
It doesn't. I feel like it doesn't give you enough information to like make a call one way or the
Yeah,
other.
it
Like
seemed like
It doesn't give you the ability to like discern what exactly.
it's clear that the author made it seem like he was trying to end that
Yeah,
I
that
don't
like
know
storyline.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you clearly cannot bring someone back to life. But just
yeah.
kind of just thinking about it more, I think it's definitely a possibility.
We're gonna find out that you have a missing arm next week.
Oh yeah, we'll have more problems than that.
I mean, if you can get your camera and microphone to work at the same time.
Okay, well, fuck
Yeah.
Amazon and their fucking viewers.
Okay, so yeah, what did you? I'm going to kick it back a little bit just because where we started. But what did you think about Greed?
Greed, I think. Greed, I think is pretty cool. I like his ability, the ultimate shields.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a very hands-on combatant. In terms of his character, I think it's on par of what you would think of somebody called Greed.
Yeah,
Playing on Deadly Sins. His whole crew with chimeras. It's interesting. How like where did all these chimeras come from? He didn't.
yeah.
He didn't do it. Like, did he just break them onto Lab 5?
Well, or did he just like Philosopher's Stone it or something?
It seems like I don't know if he knows any alchemy.
Mm-hmm. Well, can the other ones not do alchemy?
Oh, so far we didn't see Envy, Laz,
Man, I don't know
Gluttony.
if we've seen any of them do it.
I don't think anyone did it, but they all
Even
have.
the Fuhrer, I don't think has
Yeah, they all have their own ability though,
ability. Yeah,
but I don't know what that constitutes as alchemy.
not that I've seen. I mean, well, technically, Envy can transform, and
Oh,
she has like the red sparky stuff every time she does it.
everyone, they all have regenerative abilities. I didn't say that
Yeah,
right, right? But Lust got her little her spear fingers.
yeah,
What else? Gluttony.
which seems so lame.
I know. For someone with lust, that could have been so much more dangerous.
Yeah,
Um.
it kind of reminds me though of like the T-1000 a little bit from Terminator
Oh
2 because
yeah.
it can like make itself into like long knives and shit. Like I feel like that's what she was doing with her fingers because when she hit Havoc or whatever, like through the back, like her fingers were all of a sudden like 8 feet long.
Oh yeah. They were pretty. I mean, it wasn't there another episode where she just had them out go, had those fingers go up pretty far.
I mean, I think there's a few. Even in the last moment, she is reaching out her finger before
Yeah.
Mustang can finally do it. So
There's not too much examples.
yeah. I was kind of surprised. I mean, how quickly she went down for the count. I didn't realize that they just had like however many lives or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and then they died.
Go back to the scene where Bradley was just beating Greed up in the sewers, right?
Hmm.
He was asking him, "Oh, how many lives or how much times did I kill you?" 15
Yeah,
times. And then you go to the scene where they're on the ground and throw him in lava and he finally goes out.
yeah,
Like, so it sounds like there is a number of there's a livestock until they
yeah.
actually go.
It seems to be that way. I just wasn't sure because when Greed gets dropped into like the lava, I was like, oh, I mean, clearly
It's lava.
well, and like the dad was there, right? So I'm like, maybe he
Oh
knows
yeah.
the one way because he created them. It seems like maybe he knows the one way
Yeah.
to like break them down. But I thought it was really cool when Mustang pulls the stone out of Lust's chest and then she just rebuilds herself off of that
I
stone.
thought he had it. I thought like he figured
Yeah.
it out. Like, oh fuck, he's gonna be OP now, and he's gonna bring back Havoc, and he's gonna be Fear somehow. But no, he gets absolutely somewhat back. Just
Yeah.
being surprised.
So when you watch that, did you remember that, or
Yeah.
was it kind of like new all over again?
No, I think everything in these past 10 episodes, I remember fairly well.
Okay.
I think there's one scene. Where's let's see. Oh shoot! I felt like there was a little difference between the anime and the manga here, but then again, I don't know if I'm going too far. But there's this in the training montage with the other brothers on the island. So Izumi leaves them on the island to survive
Hmm.
for like a month, right?
Yeah.
And then they show the montage of them surviving, essentially figuring out her question.
Yeah.
But what I remember in the manga is that there was another dude, excuse me, another being on the island, and they would beat the living crap out of the Elric brothers once they were like comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a creature or like another human?
Uh, it was a dude in a mask.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he was part of Izumi's like trope, just
Hmm.
to help train these guys. That well, not I want to say train, but test them, or maybe
Yeah.
watch over them. So it'd be funny because they would finally put a shelter together. I think this was one of those scenes, and he would come over and just smash the shelter out, and then smash and like just beat the kids down, and would just run away. And like so kids are constantly fighting to survive from the world and from this thing. And
Okay.
there was one time where it was just about to kill them, and Ed was probably on the brink of consciousness, and the dude decides not to beat him up. And I think he either walks away or brings those kids to his shelter for a little food, and then I think they go their separate ways for a little bit. But they continue to fight.
Hmm.
That's one scene. So I thought that was kind of funny. I can't remember the other one. Yeah, I'll say it when I remember.
Yeah. I mean, that section in and of itself felt odd to me.
Oh, the whole training montage.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know if that was necessary to teach that lesson.
Just to start, the way that they asked Izumi to be their students was kind of weird. I thought, because remember, there was like a huge flood, and then they were putting
Hmm.
sandbags along the river, and I guess the bags fell, and then Izumi just walks up and
Oh
just
yeah,
shows
and
you
she creates the
a
barriers.
huge wall. And
Yeah.
the kids are so impressed. Oh, I want to be. Can we make us your student? And then she says, "Oh, I'm such a pushover." And then the whole training montage. I thought that was kind of weird. That's all it took.
Yeah. Her like her the whole of her introduction seems very like, I need this to happen and this to happen, so this is the introduction that's going to be made.
Yeah.
Right, from like a story perspective, it didn't seem super organic. But the second half of their relationship is good. It's from a story like and how to flow emotions and learning and teaching to how to be an adult. Like I found that part of their relationship and their characters really well done. But yeah, the whole even in the beginning of like the whole like introduction, I just don't understand the dynamic of why them for her to be a teacher. Like it just didn't. A lot of it just didn't make sense. It just seemed like, okay, we're just going to throw them in this. And even with the whole island thing, I'm like, it just didn't seem necessary. Like you taught them that everything is part of a cycle. Like I don't think that that's like an extraordinary concept to have to learn by making sure you don't die in an island by yourself when you're like 10 years old.
But she was testing them, right?
Yeah, but they're like 10, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just didn't understand what her purpose, like I get like making them resourceful, but like it seemed extreme,
It was
even in their world.
It was another plot device.
Yeah, yeah.
Clearly, the Elric brothers didn't just become state occupants by themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot about like their whole training that, I mean, maybe it will get continuously teased over the show, or there'll be flashbacks of how like they learn stuff, but I still haven't really seen Ed be amazing at alchemy. Like I've seen him build walls and like make a long arm knife, but I haven't seen. He has not floored me to any degree that like an Armstrong or a Mustang or any of those other state alchemists have shown me so far.
Oh, speaking about amazing, how's that Silver Alchemist when he was fighting Scar, the one with the peg leg, the older gentleman?
I'm starting to get confused because I'm literally reading Berserk right now, and they just fought a dude with a peg leg, and so like all I can see is the dude with the peg leg right now.
Oh man, I'm okay. They were fighting on a bridge. It was kind of like a London theme. Like he had a nice little top hat and a coat.
Oh yes, the dude who spins.
Oh yeah, I forgot he spun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I thought he was cool. I thought he had a great ability.
Yeah, he gets smoked though in like 2 seconds.
Fucking Scar cheated. Okay, he went after his weakness, and it was just not fair.
I just couldn't, like, when I saw him, there was 2 other things I was thinking about. One was the character in Hunter x Hunter. I can't remember who fights him. It might be Gon or Killua or something like that, where all he does is like spin and throw shit, and it messes them up for like a hot minute, and then they figure it out, they roast him.
Oh.
And then the other one I think about is, and I don't remember if this is like how it was or not, is the clown from Cowboy Bebop.
Oh.
But I don't think he spins, but something about him just reminded me of that character.
I'm gonna have to admit something, and that
You've not seen Bebop.
I didn't finish Cowboy Bebop. I always get to one episode and I stop.
It's like 20 episodes, like total.
I know, but like this one episode just kind of just slows it down too much for me, and I just forget about it.
I'm gonna post this as like a small snippet and have you just shamed through the entire.
Thank goodness my camera is down.
Next week it's coming back.
Oh man.
So speaking of crazy things to say, I sent you a TikTok earlier this week. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I forgot. I had to open it like because you sent me 2 different links. Were they both the same thing?
I don't know. I think I only sent it to you once, but there's only one that was extreme.
Okay. Oh no, I don't remember. It was. I think. Did I have a shocking reaction to that?
Yes, you're like, that's fucked.
I just see the thumbnail. I don't remember.
It was the dude who goes, I have like a hot take, and his hot take is that Alexander and the little girl had it coming, that they deserved.
That is so fucked up. Nowhere in that whole episode implies it had it coming. He didn't even explain himself. What a douche. What a douche.
I just saw that. I was like, oh.
They had it coming. She just wanted to play with Daddy. That's what she wanted to do.
Well, fuck her. Okay. Fuck her. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's the craziest there. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that I really noticed. I don't like the new opening song.
Yeah, it's not as good as the first one.
It's not. And I was thinking about this. I was like, I feel like we need to do like a top 50 anime openers list.
We need a list, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. And then, we could do like a Spotify like bangers like anime list, because I think that would be an interesting way, and just to try and equate like where we think like what's the best ones, because like, as we go through this process, it's kind of easier to remember, because like I can think about some right now, but I can't put them to the tune of the actual songs for a lot of them. So it'd be kind of nice to start building this list. But yeah, I was really underwhelmed. Like I just started skipping through the intro, and the outro is not even anything worth really holding on to either. So
I just use it to open new documents while the episode went through.
Yes, yeah. It's like, okay, I know I have 2 minutes, so what can I do? Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that was the other smaller, bigger, or not bigger, but other note that I really thought about. I was like, okay, this isn't like a big story thing, but like just watching the anime, I'm like, it was a weird transition. I didn't love it. I was like, I honestly just wish they kept the same opener for all the episodes, because the first one was really good.
It just like happened. I was like, oh, what is this? I was like, oh, this is not that good.
Yeah. It sucks. So let's see here. Trying to think. So going through the episodes, we'll do a quick recap, right here, just so we're covering our bases here. episode 11, Miracle at Rush Valley, when they go to, I can't remember the name of the place they go to, but the automail area that everyone's good at automail.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, and that's where they find the thief, and then Winry
essentially finds a teacher.
But like he won't even like teach her.
That's what
he's
I remembered.
Like, you can walk up randomly and watch me, but like he won't teach her. I'm like, okay.
I think this is another thing that was left out from the manga, and that old dude apparently was I think an old drinking buddy of Winry's grandmother.
Oh,
what's her name? Paniko?
Yeah, yeah.
And apparently she was like notorious. I think she was probably one of the well-known, most infamous automail engineers.
So does that mean that Winry sucks at automail then, or
right?
Like, why does she view the guy as so good of her grandmother?
Essentially, the grandmother, the way I remember, she was like really great at. Either she was very abusive, like as in, drinking and just fighting everybody.
The grandmother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then or she was just a great automail engineer, and I think she was a really infamously great, notorious automail engineer.
I mean, to some extent, it makes sense, right? Because she's taught Winry everything that she knows. Yeah. It seems like, and like she's there to help them fix Ed and.
Why go over there and learn from this guy when you can learn from your grandmother? She's the best.
I wonder if, again, the anime makers, because like sometimes in adaptations, I do think there are times when someone sees a story moment and they're like, okay, this either won't work for this medium, or I don't think that this really worked in the story, so I'm going to create something better. So like the only thing in my mind is, okay, you need to get them to get to this other place.
Yeah.
Like, what's the way you're going to do that, right? Because if you have the grandmother be one of the best automail designers, makers, whatever, technicians, then yeah, it makes no sense for Winry to leave. But exactly. If you give her a situation that there is that, then I can understand that, right? Like, I think of like The Last of Us, because in the game, it wasn't an airborne thing. It was, they had to like touch you or bite you or whatever. And for the television show, they changed that because they're like, well, it's not an action game, right? Like you are the character in an action game, so the tension of someone touching you is pretty high. But in a movie, that we're not going to spend 90% of the scenes, in first or third person or whatever, walking through a building with clickers, right? You're going to see other stuff. So they were like, we're going to create more tension by having this be this airborne situation that they're constantly testing for.
Okay.
And I thought that really worked. I thought that was a really good choice. And when you leave that source material, it's tricky, but there are times when you're like, you can justify it. Like, this makes more sense. And you're like, yeah, that does.
It does. Okay.
So that would be my assumption, not reading the manga, not knowing, but that would be my assumption if that was a choice that they made.
Yeah.
Okay. So episode 12 is the island, right? They go
little training montage.
Yeah. And then 13 is Beasts of Dublith, where they meet Greed, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
What do you think of Greed?
I love Greed.
Yeah.
I think my only, and it could be purposeful, but my only critique would be I have no idea why he is upset at their father. Right? Like, I don't know why he...
Well, his father? Their father?
Well, like, his creator.
Oh, he's upset at his father. Okay.
Well, yeah, because he's like, if you come back and do this, like, we'll be cool. And he's like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't want to do anything with you.
Well, like, he said that he wanted it all, right? And he said that if I were to work for you, be with you, I wouldn't be able to obtain that.
Yeah, but if he doesn't work with them, he dies.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, so I guess he's all or nothing.
Yeah. So I don't know. To me, I'm like, I didn't understand that. And I kind of hope I hope it comes up, honestly, the issues that Greed had with the rest of the group and or the creator.
I will say that. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
That fight between Ed and Greed was probably his best fight so far.
Right? Yeah, I would agree.
It really showed his cleverness. Like, he didn't just, well, not only that, and I was thinking that he was gonna say something about him and Scar, but I don't think we're there yet. But yes, his cleverness in battle was impressive, just on the spot. Like it was kind of
Yeah.
obvious what it was gonna be. You don't make anything out of nothing
Hmm.
regarding Greed's ultimate shield. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. But
Yeah. I
yeah.
thought when he first touched him, I thought he was gonna like absorb the ability to do it.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like an Ultimate Shield versus Ultimate Shield, and like kind of like when it was the same. Because I feel like it kind of, in a way, was that because he was able to make his stuff made of the same thing, so it actually broke the Ultimate Shield. Right, that was the whole idea. Is like he touched him, and then the next move he did was able to break the Ultimate Shield because it was comprised of the exact same molecules.
No, the way I interpreted it was that he was able to break down essentially Greed's ultimate shield was just hardened carbon.
Hmm.
All right, the same process as you make a diamond. And
Yeah.
Ed just figured out, okay, he's mainly made out of carbon, and that's
Hmm.
why he was able to break it down. He was with alchemy, break down his carbon. But the interesting thing is when he busted the carbon, it also busted the skin
Hmm.
straight down to his flesh. Well, essentially, that was just saying
Yeah.
that his skin turned to carbon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I I guess I just assumed like I think of like I don't know, diamonds. Like you cut a diamond with a diamond, right?
Uh,
So I thought of it like in that way, where it was like, okay, he's gonna make, but yeah, it's not like his rock spears or whatever looked the same. So he just like messed with his carbon structure when he touched him, and
I
then
think
sent it.
so, and
Okay.
like it was able to weaken it because
Yeah.
he wasn't right. He didn't just transmute the carbon and it exploded, right? He had
Yeah.
to. I think he hit it. He even made these cool freaking knuckles, right? He had little
Yeah. Yeah.
points on them. So I think he weakened the carbon and busted through the carbon.
Interesting. I wish they would like go into that a little bit more instead of just making it. I mean, it's interesting to have a discussion about it, but I'm curious why they don't explain
I really
more.
like animes that don't explain.
Yeah, and just
Like
like
sometimes
make
it's
it a
just
discussion.
yeah. I like. I think. I think. What information they gave us was enough, and it didn't need to dive into more, because
Mm.
it would have been another 5 minutes of talking montage that I don't want to hear. I
Yeah,
feel like
I'm always like curious when I get those scenes if the manga explains it more than the anime. Like every single time, I'm like, I
oh,
wonder if this was talked about. I wonder if this was,
I think in this case it was. I think it
discussed.
was pretty sure. Well, 1-to-1 there.
Okay.
What do you think about Greed's mindset of obtaining immortality? Right, he was talking about Al. Like, oh, I think your body's convenient.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fully. So I'm trying to remember honestly. It was Greed trying to put his soul into something else to do the same thing that Al has, or is he just admiring Al in
It
that moment?
seemed like he was looking for immortality because he did state that he wasn't immortal. I think he said he was alive for what, 200 plus years or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think he can age out because I think they're saying Bradley was like the only homunculus who was designed to
To
age.
age, right? But I
So
don't remember why he was saying that he wanted immortality. It's just that I know he wanted immortality. He was looking for it, and it seemed like he wanted to transfer his soul into an object to obtain immortality.
yeah, I mean, I do feel like Greed's purpose was a little vague. Like, I don't know if I fully understand what his
Oh,
goals and missions were.
in the Devil's Nest.
Yeah, like I just am like, okay, you want everything, but that means nothing to me when I don't know what
But
everything is to you.
I found it highly convenient that Bradley's inspection just happened to be at the Devil's, and they found the Devil's Nest during the inspection.
Yeah, I don't understand how that connection was
How
made either.
how did he know that?
Or did he even know that? I mean,
Oh,
was it
fair.
literally just complete coincidence? And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
I feel like throughout the series, there's almost no coincidences.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't seem like. the type of story that would have that situation. I'm trying to remember why Al and Ed were there.
Oh, well, that's where the teacher was. That's where the teacher's home was.
Yeah, but why did they get dragged into
Oh,
it?
and so Al was cleaning shop. He was outside brooming around,
Oh, that's right. That's
and
right.
then the
And
lizard
then they take the suit.
chimera
Yeah.
essentially baited him. They took the suit and
Yeah.
took him down.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there was nothing. Go ahead.
I thought, like, we kind of talked a little bit earlier, the Chimera situation where no one had successfully done really anything until the daughter. And then all of a sudden you've got
Good point.
5 or 6 of these that are, like, fully functioning human beings that are mixed with creatures.
I find it so weird how, right, they made this one dude a state alchemist. And he became a state alchemist because he made a chimera, which was a dog and another human being, essentially. But on the back end...
Well, did they even... I don't even know if they knew it was a human being. They just knew it said a word.
Okay, fair.
Right?
But they knew that it was a chimera that could speak.
Yeah.
But we know in the 5th laboratory, I believe at the 5th laboratory, they're making chimera at a higher level.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, do they fully know that, or does just, like, the fear know that?
Well, when you bring in... Well, I think if you're thinking down to episode, like, 19-ish, with Mustang trying to smoke out some of the elites, I think it's implied that the military is involved in Laboratory 5.
Yeah. Okay, I would agree with that. I don't know. Part of me wonders, though, if that connection is only there because they don't know who the Fuhrer really is. Right? So, like, they don't know who he is, and maybe he's the military connection, but it could go much deeper, and I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not... Okay. I don't have the know-with-all if there's more to that yet or not.
Yeah.
Like, the Fuhrer right now is really an unknown entity to me at this point. I still don't know the goals of the homunculus or homunculi. Like, I don't know what their aim is. Obviously, I know they create philosopher's stones, but, like, they keep talking about these special sacrifices, and I don't know what that is intending to be towards.
Right, yeah.
Outside of more stones. Like, I don't know if there's some greater goal that they have yet.
Al finally was able to see the truth.
Yeah. I was glad about that. I mean, how did you feel about that whole situation, about him seeing that?
I kind of didn't make sense why he needed blood contact for that to happen. Right? Because I think her name was Maria, the snake chimera, who was in the Al's body. Absolutely brutal and traumatizing for Al, right? To have someone absolutely just splatter and killed inside your armor.
That was an insane scene.
That was, right?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense why the blood... Because the blood scene touching his seal activated the memories. But I thought it made sense. Like, he went into the truth. He saw it all. Finally, we get to see Al with a little bit more, I guess I'd say, ability.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole truth thing, again, I also don't fully understand that either. Because, like, is truth, like, supposed to be, like,
what is
a god? You know? Like, and... Because they keep leaving saying, oh, I know it now. And it doesn't really seem like that becomes truth, like, or the reality.
What do you mean?
Well, because, like, Al's like, I know everything now. I know exactly what we need. Or Ed, sorry, not Al. When he saw the truth, but it doesn't seem like that's actually true.
Before you mean like before to do a human transmutation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he said he knew it. He said he saw it, what he needed to do, and it doesn't really seem like if you saw what to do, go do it.
But they closed it on him, remember? Just before he could see it, all of it.
Yeah. But then Al sees all of it, and I don't know if I saw him having some major epiphany.
Well, that's the thing, right? So Ed only gave up his left leg for that information.
Yeah.
And he was able to get as far as seeing what was required for human transmutation. Al gave up his whole body. Yeah, he's 1 year younger, so maybe there's less material there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would assume he would have gotten a lot more information out of the truth. But from what we've seen so far, it seems like he just knows as much as Ed. So it almost implies that that's all there is to alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, because who is it that said Greed? Greed is the one that said nothing is impossible.
Okay.
Right? He literally said that.
Right.
And they've repeated his line. So
they did, yeah, a few times.
In my mind, I don't think anything is impossible. I think there is a way to do things like crazy stuff. I just don't know if you can control what you're doing. I think that's more of the difficulty, because the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, you couldn't control who you brought back to life. So in my mind, I'm like, you still brought something back. You just couldn't control it.
Yeah.
So like in my head, I'm like, yeah, it's not impossible, but it's wildly implausible. So like, or just extremely difficult. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my assumption right now, is that it's just that they don't have the know-it-all or the will to do the things that are required to do it. Right. Because I do think that is a huge thing, right? When they got all scared that they're like, oh my God, it's going to require, a human sacrifice to do it. Right. Like, okay, you're learning, because we talked about that last week, where we're like, it's not that surprising that they're asking for a sacrifice for you to bring someone back, right?
For like unlimited power almost.
Yeah, for the Philosopher's Stones, yeah. Right? I keep wanting to say Alchemist Stone. I don't know why.
I think it is. I think that is another name for the Philosopher's Stone, right?
Yeah. But so to me, I'm like, I don't know if anything in reality is extremely, because the same thing with the homunculus, right? Because they're like, that's impossible. Those don't exist, and there's at least so far that we know of 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
So I think the definition of what is possible and what isn't is unknown. As far as I can tell, right? I know that there's taboos and there's things that you shouldn't do, and they're really bad. But I don't know if there's things that straight up.
But who writes the taboos?
I think it's just like a societal thing, right? Like, you don't want to mess with the dead. I think that's a pretty generic, moral, societal characteristic, right? Because clearly you're having a lot of manipulation with the homunculus, right? Even with the bodies where they're switching souls into suits of armor, right? Like, I think they're having no issues doing that. So, or the chimeras. Yeah. So that's my assumption. That's where I'm at with it.
My favorite part of that episode is that everyone who saw the truth has that little squiggly arm animation.
They have what?
You know how they're all distraught about thinking about the truth, and then they go into this little weird cartoon animation with squiggly arms.
Oh yeah.
I love that animation. Love it.
I feel like that's somewhat of a common animation, I would say.
Yeah, it's just for the manga. I thought it was just it's funny.
Okay, so we're coming up on time, so there's a couple other things I really want to hit on.
Oh yeah,
we have not even talked about.
We didn't even get on. I did. Yeah,
we haven't talked about Hughes' death.
Did we not?
No, we have not even covered this yet.
What episode was that?
So it happens. I know in 16 is Ed and Al finding out about it.
That was rough.
Yeah. I think it's the end of 10 when Hughes dies, right? So
yeah. So
we probably talked about it a little bit last week, but this week everybody's finding out, and also Lieutenant Ross, right? Those are the two major things I would say on that side of, like, on the military side of things, like political wise, is what happened. That was emotional. I was like, damn, when they finally find out about Hughes. I was just like, ooh, that's kind of soul crushing.
What I got out of that is that everyone is still treating Ed like a child.
Yeah.
And I really hate it. It's like, dude, you could have just said it right there. Just be a little empathetic.
Yeah.
No, he just, like, I get it. Like, you're trying to save him from the grief. It was going to affect him. He was going to blame himself, like he did. He blamed himself.
Yeah.
But like you, that was it. Clearly, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. The
Yeah. No,
whole
I'm with
the
you.
whole Ross situation, keeping him out of the loop.
I knew immediately what was happening.
Did you?
Yes. The second I saw a Mustang there, I was like, yeah, it's getting faked.
Oh
Like 100%.
damn!
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
I
when
was just like, go ahead.
I think when I first went through it, I actually believe he roasted her.
It just wouldn't have made any sense.
It,
Like, he's
you,
never been that
you
guy.
could tell, yeah. I mean, you could tell it was all set up, right? It just didn't make any sense. We knew the story,
Yeah.
so it didn't make sense. So it didn't make sense for Mustang to do it. Um,
Did you
yeah.
find that that was a good plot device for them to do, where they like made Lieutenant Ross get like
Was it a good
basically
plot
put into jail
device?
as a distraction tool, right? Because that's kind of what MV was saying. Like, we just need to distract Mustang.
Yeah, Envy was trying to get their dog to behave right. It's essentially was
Yeah.
Mustang, but like it led to nothing. And I think Envy even said it herself that it didn't like it. There was that yeah, you were trying to what was she trying to do? Trying to do something with the dog. Was she trying to punish the dog?
I mean, I think she's just trying to like, they're trying to convince him to like stop digging into shit.
Oh
So they're
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
distract him, right? They're like, you need to like lay off the stuff that we're working
right.
on and basically be focused on something else.
Yeah, yeah. Les said that. Les essentially said, "Yeah, yeah, good job doing it, but you made him clean up that. Made him do that himself." And
Yeah. I just didn't understand how it was very clear that there was another person there who fired the gun. So I'm like, I just don't understand
that too.
how far up this conspiracy goes.
What
Um,
also bothers me is that she even states that she was there protecting Ed.
Ed and Al, yeah.
And well, I think she only states. Did she say the brothers or just Ed?
Well, they were there to get the brothers out of the Fifth Hour.
Right,
Al
right.
was the one who was fighting, right? So she was saving Al.
Okay, but she said essentially in a way she brings up Ed, and Ed could have easily been an alibi,
Yeah, but Ed was in the building
but they still rescue him. He could have
for sure.
he could have
But the
easily
question wasn't.
vouched, but they never
But
went
the
and got
question
him.
wasn't she was there or not. The question was if she fired a bullet there, right? Because that was the whole thing. He presents a bullet, the same slug, and he's like, "Where's your bullet?"
Yeah,
And she's like, "It's underneath a pile of rubble."
right,
And they're like, "So we can't prove it,
right. But
right?"
she used that bullet to protect the brothers. That was what in her statement.
For sure. So I think Al would have maybe seen it, but Ed would have been inside the building and would never have seen
I
it.
think Ed could have easily fibbed that.
He
It's
could
like,
have.
yeah, Lieutenant Ross definitely used at least one bullet to protect me and my brother at Laugh
I mean,
5.
she had the dude who was standing next to her who was like, they just won't listen to
Right, but
my
they're
testimony.
like second lieutenants still that
Yeah.
are like couple of class. I don't know how many classes below Ed. Right, he is a major. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how many different levels. How many levels that is. But a state
Oh,
alchemist's
yeah.
testimony should be pretty high up.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just seemed like they clearly weren't going to care about anyone's opinions, but I just am like, how far up does this go?
Yeah.
Obviously, we know about the Fuhrer, but I'm like, is the Fuhrer like talking directly to the guy who's the investigator, or is there like 20 levels of
Ooh.
all of this that's getting,
Uh,
brought down? Like, I'm curious to see how intricate the conspiracy is.
Speaking of levels, like going back to Ed again, like where does he even fall on there? Like no one gives a shit about what this guy's doing, right? He's all over the place. Like
About the Fuhrer?
no Edward,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like he listens to almost nobody other than Mustang.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird how they just let him wander around, but maybe because the
yeah.
fear is letting him. I don't know.
It doesn't really seem like he has a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like tasks. Like, he doesn't have like, here's your mission, right?
Yeah.
It definitely just seems like he's do your own thing until we ask and call you.
Oh, I did want to ask you about what you perceive Mustang and Hawkeye as. What scene was it? Shoot. Oh yeah, it was when Ross was arrested, and then Mustang hears about it, and then he gives off orders to Hawkeye, like, "Oh, go do this," right? So I feel like up to now, to this point, we've only seen Mustang trying to climb the ladder,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think you and I both come from corporate world. We've seen the corporate ladder. We've seen those kind of individuals. So what I'm seeing now is just kind of a dude and this other maybe assistant, right, trying to climb the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
What are your opinions on Mustang and Hawkeye and his crew? Like you see, they're
Yeah.
at the headquarters trying to climb a ladder.
I think Hawkeye is very ideological, right? So I think that he thinks like he's been through some trauma. Right? Clearly, the Ishvalan War and all the stuff that happened there was big for him. So I think for him, he wants to run everything because he thinks he can do like the best job in terms of being like just and like keeping things. I don't want to say in order because I feel like that sounds like tyrannical to
Yeah,
some
there it is.
extent, um, but I think he's clearly trying to get to the Fuhrer level. Obviously, right? He said it out loud,
Yeah,
and I think the group that's with him just believes in him and like his moral compass, which is again why I didn't buy the
the
roasting
Ross
Ross to
thing.
death, and when Hawkeye like stormed out of the room, I'm like, who is this play for? Like, you're in a room with your own people. Like, there's no one else
Uh
there.
huh.
So I was confused by that. Havoc is an interesting character just because he's like a playboy, but I don't want to say playboy because he's dating girls, but how do you not know something's up with lust? Like, I'm just like, come on, man. Uh,
Oh
but at
man,
least he didn't say anything, so he's at least
that's fair.
trustworthy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have like a specific thought around that though that you're thinking about?
No, I think it's no, we'll see it soon. I just feel like it what we see so far is so very different from what he
What will be?
no, maybe I'm thinking about it wrong. It's just interesting. I'm just comparing what I see now, these 20 episodes, and comparing it to, people trying to climb the ladder in a corporate setting.
I mean, I tend to find it in corporate settings the people who climb ladders, the ones who
Can't do the job.
technically, like a
Yeah.
lot of times, it's well because they spend the majority of their time making the connections,
Yeah,
right? They
networking.
spend the majority of their time finding the people that they need to be in a circle with, and then gaining whatever their trust. They tend to be delegators, I would say, more than doers, right? So,
Yeah, I wasn't getting at that. I see what you mean.
yeah,
Um, it was just like he was giving a lot of orders, do this, do that. Maybe I'm going too far into it. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I just Havoc as a subordinate, and he's in his. I mean,
Yeah.
I think of it as like any other military unit where if you really like your leader and you trust them, then you're going to do everything for him
Hmm.
or her, right? Like you're going to follow them. That's as far as I read into that, as far as that relationship.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be like, do you think they're into each other? And I was like, I didn't see that coming. I was like, I have nothing otherwise other than Havoc dates a girl, but I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That's as far as I got with that. All right, well, we'll toast this guy off here with just one or two more things. The only other real subject I thought about, and we can ask if there's anything else that you want to bring up as well. But for me was them Ed seeing his dad again.
Okay.
Right, like that whole moment, I was just like, "What is
It's
happening?"
brutal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just like, you finally have an opportunity to like even just have a discussion,
yeah.
and you don't.
And you just share them. Like, you just, the, you just, you're just a child who wet his bed and you want to hide your sheets. That's why you burnt down the house. Like, you're too
Yeah,
afraid to acknowledge what you did. And you
yeah,
just ran away from it. Like, damn, man.
yeah, and it's just like I don't understand what he wants from Ed.
Didn't seem like that, I think they were together for like a day, right? It didn't seem like he
Yeah.
wanted much. It almost seems like at the scene with the table, he clearly knew Ed was listening. It seemed like he was trying to give him some closure, some trying to help him get past some trauma in a brutal, tough love way, from beginning to end. I feel like
I just don't understand what the dynamic is because it's like he went to like touch Ed's shoulder or whatever when he was sleeping.
creepy.
Yeah, and then decided not to
Yeah,
and left, right? And then he like has moments where he must care to some degree because he tells
I think
Granny,
yeah.
"Hey, leave. Like some stuff's gonna happen.
Uh
Leave."
huh.
So I'm like, you have this dynamic of caring, but like I don't understand.
I think I get it. I think it does show that he does care for his family,
Hmm.
but it's awkward because he's been away 10 plus years, right? With no reason.
But he also just seems like he's up to some fucking shady shit.
Well, that's a separate
So like
story, right?
he feels like the evil arbiter, and I'm like,
That's the vibe you get. Yeah.
yeah, I don't understand what's happening, and this could be so complicated, right? Because like I think AOT, right, where it's like it's not as simple as you assume in the beginning.
Okay.
Like it gets way involved. Please tell me you've seen that.
No. I know.
Oh,
Please,
no.
please hold off on any spoilers, please. I know.
Uh,
Um.
yeah, so it's complicated. That's all I'll say. Is nothing is face value.
Okay.
So, wow, you're gonna get roasted for two different shows. Okay. So to me, I'm like, I understand that there's more depth to whatever the situation is. I
Hmm.
just don't understand it yet, and I know I'm getting teased. But we're a third of the way through the entire series at this point, and I
Hmm.
have no idea what his goal is, why his kids are important to him or anything else,
Uh,
or where the story
it's
is
heading.
actually going.
Uh,
Right, so it is surprising to me that it started out very direct. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get our bodies back. And now I'm a third of the way through the entire series, and I really have no idea what the end game is.
it's exciting. So exciting.
It's exciting, but it's also like, I'm like, give me an
I
answer.
love stories that
Like,
just go nowhere, where you have no idea where they're going.
did you like Lost?
You know, that's another thing I do need to watch.
Oh my god. No, you don't, because
I've
I
I've
hated
been
Lost.
avoiding Lost and their spoilers for the past 10 years.
I don't even know how you can avoid a spoiler at this point. It's so old.
I know. I think I accidentally was spoiled into it, but I think right now I forgot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the last kind of subject matter that I figured that I really wanted to cover in this. Is there something else that you wanted to hit on?
No, just we got some heavy hitters, right? We got Ed's dad that came out. We got the homunculus, his father.
Yeah.
He's out there. Bradley's now we know he's got the ultimate eye.
Wrath, yeah.
Wrath. Oh yeah, Wrath. Shoot. We got sacrifices, potential sacrifices also. Oh man.
So, would you stack this set of 10 above the first set of 10?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I would
I
say.
think it's just gonna get
Yeah.
better from here.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no.
Oh, it's just like, to me, it's, while I still know nothing, it does feel like it is constantly moving and revealing stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like it's going nowhere. It's just, I'm just trying to put the pieces together. But it feels like things are more impactful, I think, now. Like everything that's getting revealed or everything that's
Good
happening
point.
feels like it's really more deeply connected and more influential in the story.
I agree.
Except for the song. The intro sucks for this section.
Yeah, baby episode wasn't that great either.
Yeah, it wasn't super. I mean, they're allowed to have one bad one in 10.
That's
so.
sure.
Okay, anything else, manga or anime that you're reading or watching this week?
Not this week. I like to let those build up.
Mhm.
But I forgot to mention, like, favorite genre isekais. I'm following my Shield Hero. That's great. It's changed a little bit. I think it's gone a little downhill.
Hmm.
and there's also it's okay to pick up girls in a dungeon. Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
That manga, sorry, the animation is great. I love the story.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I just haven't read the manga yet, and I'm not sure if there is a manga or there's a light novel. But
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
so I
sure.
just wait for the manga to come. Oh, sorry, the anime to come out. That's it.
Did you say that you were watching Delicious in Dungeon, or was that somebody else?
I was, yeah, I was.
Okay.
I think you did say that you had a buddy watching it too.
Yeah, yeah, and he's really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying
I
it.
think I've only seen like the first or second episode, so and I thought it was good. It just it wasn't at the time I was busy,
Yeah,
right? So I just hadn't finished off with it. But
it's not like
okay,
fantastic, but like I like the story. It's chill. It's starting to get a little menacing now. So yeah.
okay, cool. And then I'm halfway through the 10th deluxe edition of Berserk,
Oh wow.
so that's where I'm chugging through.
How many chapters is that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me grab this.
Is it all in one book? Can you show that?
Yeah. So this is the 10th volume,
Oh my
right?
goodness.
Yeah. So each one of the this is the ninth volume, so the 10th one's still in my other room.
Wait, are
Um,
those like actual before he died?
yeah. So all of these are the ones that he made, right? And it's just like big old pages,
Oh my goodness. I didn't know they had
right?
that.
Yeah, they're amazing. Like the quality is incredible on
Yeah.
them, and I'm loving it. They're a little more expensive, right? Because it's like I'm finding them on Amazon for like pretty much 30 a pop. But if
Dude,
you go to like a bookstore, they're 50 a
but look
pop.
at that
So
quality though.
I know, and they have like white down the middle, so you're not having the images like split into the
Yeah.
pages like in the crease. So they're phenomenal. I'm loving it.
Really?
Yeah,
I hope they do that for One Piece when it finally gets done.
I'm kind of surprised that they already don't have something like that for One
I'm
Piece.
pretty
Like
sure they're
that
gonna
seems like such
wait.
an easy sell.
They're gonna wait until it's all done and sell it as a big set. Because I'm gonna be one of those
Mm.
suckers that do it.
Man, that's gonna be crazy because I want to say Berserk has like 43 volumes or something like that before Muir died.
Whoa.
Yeah, but uh, not of those. That's one volume, or one of those is 3 volumes,
Okay.
right? So there's 14 of those deluxe editions because each one has 3.
Wow.
So if you do that for One Piece, though,
I know.
I mean, there's like 100 and we're at least
You're
106
gonna need a
volumes.
library to carry all those.
Yeah, I know Vinland Saga is doing the same thing. I think Helsing also has the same type
Okay.
of thing. So there are more and more books that are or mangas that are doing those deluxe editions, and for specific series, yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense to do
Yeah.
it.
Agreed.
So, I mean, I have like the Alita ones here too, right? Those are deluxe
Oh, I
editions.
didn't know that. I thought those
Yeah,
were just like art pieces.
no, those are the first 5. I want to say, they're each 1 volume,
Okay.
so they're not as big or as thick as the Berserk ones, but they're incredible, and they have some colored art on the inside of it as well. So no,
Gotcha.
they're awesome. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm also working through My Hero Vigilantes,
Are you
which
reading
a
it?
lot of I am. I'm reading it. There's no
Oh.
anime yet for it,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'm enjoying it, but people were kind of trying to sell me on it being better than My Hero, and I'm not quite there. I think it's really entertaining. It's just very different. It's about like the street level, trying to solve crime, as like a just like a
Is
normal
it like
bystanding type
a little
person.
break off, or is it?
It is. It's like a spin off of it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you'll have moments where like certain characters like Aizawa like pops into it and stuff like
Okay.
that. So like you'll have characters from the main story come into it in certain
Gotcha.
moments.
Okay.
But it's really about these 3 kind of street level people who don't have quirks that are like good enough to be heroes, but they want to like help and do
Oh, cool.
things.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I want to wait till the manga, the animation comes out. I just feel like the animation is just too good to know the story for. I just want
Oh,
to.
for My Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I follow that one too. Like I'm caught up. So like for me, I'm excited because I know what's coming.
Uh-huh.
and I'm excited for it.
See, I'd rather not know. I just want to be surprised.
Yeah. I think there's certain stories where I'm like, I get so invested in it, and I'm like, I just need, like Demon Slayer. Like, I watched the first season of Demon Slayer, and then I bought every single manga, and I read it in 2 weeks.
You know what's funny?
I was like, I have to know it.
What's funny about Demon Slayer is that I was looking for manga to read one day, and on the website I was on, it showed the name in not in Japanese but in katakana. So for English though.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what is this? So I started reading it. Oh, damn, this is so good. And then it was Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
It's like Kimetsu no Yaiba or something like that, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love that story. I heard that the new season's only be 8 episodes, and I'm kind of annoyed.
Oh, they better be an hour long or something. Jeez.
I think the first one is supposed to be something like that, but they're not all going to be like that.
Man.
It's like a training arc, so it's what's already normally a slow season to begin.
Yeah.
Every single time, I'm like nervous. It's going to be a slow entire season. So
dang.
We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got on my radar right now. That's taking up pretty much all of my time. But other than that, that's all I got.
Me too.
All right, man. Well, hopefully next week, Steven will figure out his USB cord woes.
I'm buying a new cable.
So that we can mercilessly attack his not seeing shows with his face, so you all can know who to blame.
Maybe we'll get the YouTube thing streaming going on.
That should happen. Yeah, we had the Twitch one going tonight, so I'll keep that going.
It was.
But yeah, the Twitch one is going. Okay. So we'll have YouTube and Twitch next week, and then I'll update this video podcast to Spotify. And then you can listen to it, for the video and or just the audio. Still working on the T-shirts. I slightly dipped into doing the designs for that, but I haven't fully spent enough time to really do it. And then next week will be episodes 21 through 30. Yeah. So we'll pretty much be halfway through the series. Maybe we can go to like 32 to hit exactly halfway.
Oh yeah.
But we'll kind of have to see how the week goes. But
by the halfway point, we should probably start thinking about what we're going to do next.
Yeah, I've got some ideas. So I'm curious because I think because you had seen or knew all of this story before me, I thought maybe it'd be kind of interesting to do another series that I had already seen.
Yeah, I would like that.
And go vice versa. Cool. So we can, I thought that'd be neat. So there's a few I'm sure that we can figure out what might be the best one for that. But other than that, that's all I got, my man. I'll see you next week unless there's something else.
No, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. I will see you later. Get some sleep. Now that you're on your Friday, you butt. I'm about to start my work week, so
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, man. I'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Bye.